Hey guys, we made it to season 5 of the Us People podcast. I'm your host Savia Rocks, and in this season we aim to empower and embrace creativity through diversity as we dive into the fascinating stories and experiences of a diverse range of individuals, highlighting their unique perspectives and creative endeavors. From artists and entrepreneurs to innovators and activists, we celebrate the power of diversity in driving creativity and fostering positive change. Join us as we engage in thought-provoking conversations like
I made myself intentionally homeless in pursuit of my purpose.
We're aware that a lot of people want to present and they were in my position, and what's worse, they weren't a white male, which is a joke that's even still a thing.
I think my family never ever say you can't do something, so full of support for whatever dream. If I said tomorrow I want to fly to the moon, they'll probably say I wish you all the best, Mel.
So guys, I just want to say thank you for supporting the Us People podcast for the past 5 years, and we look forward to sharing another new theme song with you. Let's go.
Yeah, my name is Emarvellous. I'm an artist and I'm doing a podcast for Savia Rocks.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host Savia Rocks, and today I have Emarvellous here with me, who is a musician and artist. Emarvellous, thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Us People podcast. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. I feel very enthusiastic to be on your show, and I feel really great that I got the opportunity to be on your show.
No, thank you so much for coming on. It always, one thing I love is being able to be creative and talking to different types of artists, because the cosmic way of how they think and being able to tell their journey, regardless if it's spiritually or just in a different form, is beautiful to be able to help people do that. So I want to say thank you, even before we begin, for coming and wanting to share that with us.
And that's great. I'll say exactly the same thing. It's an honor to be on your show.
Thank you so much. So my first question for you today.
Interesting topics you always talk about anyway.
Thank you. I appreciate that, definitely. Sometimes it's quite hard because the questions that come can really pull out a lot from you as well as a person.
Yeah.
Definitely. So my first question for you is, could you tell me a bit about yourself, where you grew up, and how that influenced you to be the person who you are today?
I grew up in East London, Hackney.
Hey.
Parents coming from the Caribbean, St. Vincent.
Okay.
Right, and my mother was raised in Trinidad, and then she came over when she was young. And we used to live a place called Kingsmead Estate.
Yep, I know that.
Yeah. And there's all kind of influences going on there. There was like a place, a pub called the Golden Shoe. Ooh. And there's all these music bands going there and stuff like that. There was like loads of carnivals. And they had obviously there's different cultures around there because there's different nationalities. So I'm one of those people that likes to embrace all cultures. And my cousin is nicknamed Culture.
That's
Steve.
actually a good name, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he used to have like sound system, building up speaker boxes in his bedrooms. And he used to be like, he used to get the mic and do the reggae DJing, all the toasting and all that kind of stuff. And that got me influenced. And I used to pick up the mic, didn't know what I was saying, but I did it just for the fun of it. And it just inspired me. And then years later, there was a person called Overlord X.
Oh, these names are coming out of nowhere.
I've known him all my life. That's Mr. X. Yeah, I've known him all my life basically. And when it was nice to see like someone from the area out there, because I was to say to myself, oh wow, I would love to be in that situation. And then that's what gave me the inspiration. I used to listen to all different hip-hop artists from back in the days, and then listen to their journeys of how they got to become the people they were. And that also inspired me as well. I used to go on little talent shows and stuff like that. I remember there was a place called Dingwall's Night Spot that was in Camden.
I know exactly where I sang there. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and there was like artists like the Cookie Crew, and there was like My Only Love, and there was all these people there. And then I said I always wanted to be in this. I wanted to be in a situation, or wanted to be in their shoes, basically. And I remember I entered a talent show, and there was like all of the people there. Overlord X was there, and the dancers and all that. And I remember I went on the stage. I picked up that microphone. And this is when the nerves kicked in. That was like Britain's Got Talent in the early days.
Yeah, it sure was.
The minute I picked up that mic, I froze, and it's like the words wouldn't come out. It was like a version of 8 Mile. I could understand that feeling. And then I can hear people giggling, and that made me feel even more nervous. And I still held my corner, and I just did what I had to do. Then after that, I had to put the mic down, and that was it. And I went back to Dingwall's Night Spot years later. Mm-hmm. And I thought I got fed up. I thought to myself, what am I feeling nervous for? Just do what you got to do. Mm-hmm. So by that time, I had like two artists with me. There was one called Rocco Monet from South London. And then I had another guy called a Chameleon. Reason how he got that name, because he used to always change his hair color all the time. And that was it. I didn't freeze, or I didn't feel nervous or anything. I just went on there and I just done my thing. And even though the songs were finished, I'm still continuing. It's just to show that I overcome that fear. Yeah, you know the group Prodigy, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Right. Now, there used to be someone I used to collaborate with who's actually used to be an ex-posse who Mr. X knows, and she's not with us anymore. And she went by the name of Trina. And she was good because she used to be a DJ called Milk Tray and stuff like that.
I know all these names.
And she done a song with Skunk Anansi, Skin.
Yes.
But she wasn't actually in the video. She didn't want to be in the video, so they just used her vocals and stuff like that. But anyway, there was her cousin, Trina's uncle was Maxim from Prodigy. Mm. And then what happened was Maxine, years ago, we done a cover of a Cameo song, which was Candy. Yeah. It was the flavor, the touched up flavor by Mr. X everyone was loving it. People was really feeling it. So we got the attention of Maxim from Prodigy. So he listened to the tune, and then he was thinking about signing us because he wanted to bring it to his manager and stuff like that. Just when that happened, Trina fell ill. Man. Then I realized, because I forgot to mention, she performed at Dingwall's Night Spot with us as well. So all together, there was like 4 of us, and it was all the formula. So we was basically bouncing off each other. So, back to Trina, she felt ill. And I noticed where she said she had a hole in her leg that wouldn't heal. Then I found out that she had diabetes. Oh. And then I found out she passed away. And then everything just went pear-shaped after that, because everyone was distressed. And Maxim, he just wasn't happy. He wouldn't be, because that's his niece. Yeah. Everything turned, so I suppose that deal wasn't meant to be. Otherwise, it would have happened. But you know something? I still do what I like doing. Yeah. That mean I must stop. And obviously I am doing what I like doing, because you can hear the music I'm still putting out there.
Which is the best thing about it, is the fact that you still carry on doing what you love. Exactly. And you're being able to tell your story in your way through music. And sometimes what we don't realize is sometimes we're thinking, you don't have to be a celebrity or anyone to make your music touch people. You can be at home and your music is touching millions of people and you just don't know.
Exactly.
And that's true. And that's the beauty of music.
I remember sending my music to Number One Music. Mm-hmm. It's just like a nap, and it's like a little organization that's going on and stuff like that. And they've developed a lot now. So I remember sending a track I did called Wellbeing. Yeah. And then I was just getting people sending me messages. Do you know what? That tune you done really conditioned my mind. And I done another track called Mental Health. Mm-hmm. Never Health. They said, do you know what? It's like you were directly talking to me. the lyrics that I using as though you was in front of me and you was reciting them in front of me. So they was just listening to it, and it's like it got a lot of followers on. I got a lot of followers on Number One Music because it was hip hop. Basically, it was like a hip hop kind of channel, or it was like varies whatever genre you did. You just fulfilled what you believed in regarding music. What do you call it? The lyrics.
That's all you need to do. All you need to do is write down how you feel from your heart. I always say that to people. A lot of the time people might find it hard to articulate themselves in the mannerism or the way. But if you're feeling, it doesn't even matter if you're feeling angry, depressed, happy, sad, whatever you're feeling, use the beauty of words to be able to do that.
Frequency, isn't it?
Yeah, that's literally what it is. And the frequency is another thing I'm sure we can talk about when you talk about, because they say that is it the frequency of 442? I don't know if I'm correct, or 440. One of them are the correct frequency.
Yeah, 441.
There you go. So you know it better than I do. So I was in the middle.
I won't say I really know a lot about it, but I studied with the engineers in the studio, and they said sometimes it's that deep that when they have pains, that they put on a certain frequency and it gets rid of the pain.
Exactly that, because when I have a headache, that's exactly what I do as a sound engineer. I go in and I do that as well, because it does actually get rid of pain. And a lot of people don't actually know that, and I think that's something that we should learn to teach people a lot more. Emarvellous, there is something that I do want to ask you, and it's more about knowing more about who you are as a person. So can you define yourself as a person, and who do you see when you look in the mirror? But on the flip side of that question, has there ever been a time where you have looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at you? How did you manage to go from a person that you may not have liked or is going through something to becoming the person who has evolved and is happy with the vision of who they see?
Right, my answer to that was I looked in the mirror, and then I can tell you this now. Majority of the time, I'd be on the street, going my own business, and then I'll get people telling me their business and tell me their problems and stuff. And I would listen and try to listening to someone. Being a good listener would actually help someone. It would just make their day, saying hello. And I thought to myself, okay, if that's the case, and people's always asking me advice for certain things, I'm at the end of the day, I'm no specialist. I started volunteering.
I like that.
Volunteering, and I've just thought to myself, it's good to give something back to the community.
Yeah. So
I became a support worker, and I'm a support worker up to this day. So I worked in hostels, drug and alcohol addictions. There's a place in Cardiff called the Huggard Centre. They've in 1993. It was opened up by Prince Charles. Well, King Charles now, obviously. And then I worked there, and it was just such an eye-opener. So I thought, and then every time I looked in the mirror, I thought, man, I've actually evolved to try and help other people. Like I said, give back to the community. So I said to them, when I first volunteered, I said, the best place to put me is in the kitchen.
I like that. I like that.
So that way, the service users and residents, I got to engage with them.
Yes.
And then that's how I built up a rapport with them. So, and that was the best thing I did. So I got to know a lot of residents, and there'll be stuff that they wouldn't tell the other workers. But at the same time, I had to make them know, you can't, the reason I would listen to you, but some information I'm going to have to share with them just to protect myself. Because that way they could sort of like incriminate me or try to bribe you. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be careful as well. I think when it's a beautiful thing for people to be able to trust you.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
In life, there is a magnificent thing around trust, because it gives a certain clarity to who you are. and for those people to be able to trust you with the clarity of the freedom of their speech is great. But at the same time, it's kind of like being a therapist in a way with people. It's being able to know when to do something about a situation, when someone's telling you something, and when it's not a good time to tell someone something because it's confidentiality, because somebody has told you something.
Exactly.
And sometimes life is a little bit complicated and difficult at the same time, because finding a balance within that can also challenge you as a person. So it's so beautiful that you did say that in the way that you did, because a lot of people always look for a connection with someone, and sometimes people find that hard to find within people. But then I always say there are empaths in the world who shine a certain light that helps them to enlighten other people's lives.
I feel like a light, and the service users are the moths, because moths are attracted to light.
Yeah.
So you just get people, they would just talk to me and they said, oh, etc. This happened and that happened, and I said there'll be people that was on certain, they were like misuse, like substances and stuff like that. I said, well, if I couldn't help you, I can lead you into the direction where you can get help, so you can overcome what you're doing.
Yeah.
You've got counsellors and stuff like that. Well, and then that was my job, is bringing them to like the counsellors, and then some of them would actually go and some wouldn't. But the thing is, you don't give up. You just try and just continuously try, because it's your job.
Exactly. This is the thing I like about it.
And what I did, I sort of like engaged with a lot of people, and I found out what they liked. There was people who liked sports activities. So I formed a football team for people that like football.
Yeah.
There was people that liked singing. And there was one particular service user who was a really good singer, very good. But the only problem is it was the alcohol issue.
Okay.
But so what I actually did, organised a studio session with friends of mine, and she sang a song called the track was actually called Force of Impact.
Yeah.
And when she sang that song, she really belted it out, man. She really put her heart into it. And then there's times when she was actually, there'll be like a fighting situation going on. The minute she starts singing, everything will come to a standstill, because it was that good. She was on Britain's Got Talent years ago. And what happened is she got so nervous, she actually started swearing. Simon Cowell didn't care. He called her back about 3 times. But she just got so nervous, because he was really interested in her. There was people like in Sony that was interested in her. So I was thinking to see if I can give her that jump start again, so that she can get back into it. But unfortunately, she was too far gone.
Okay.
And that was just a sad thing. Like, there was like other people I met who came out of prison, and I knew they liked music. We used to go upstairs and have little music sessions, and basically we used to have freestyle sessions, pass the mic all in a circle. And then that would just take their mind off things. And then they always just said to me, and whenever they felt down, I said, okay, would you like another music session? There was different residents, and I can help them in different ways.
Yeah.
That's how I got to find out what they liked. Some people like rock climbing and all that stuff. Some people like swimming, and that would just take their mind off things. Some people that make it through, and there's people that don't.
Unfortunately.
Then again, I still try.
No, the one fundamental thing in life is you can try something many times. If a person is ready, they will go walk with you. If a person is not ready, then there is something that they need to learn within themselves before they walk towards you and say yes. And one thing you don't do is you don't cast any judgment, any form of judgment upon them. You just say, you know what, you're not ready right now. When your time is ready, you know where I am. Hopefully it won't be too late.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll be there. If I'm not there, then you wasn't meant to meet me. You was meant to meet someone else. And that's purely what it is. So my next one for you is, what is a day like in your life? You you tell me you help people, but then you also have this transformative way of doing music, and you've done it with people that we both know.
Yeah.
And
Do you know what it is? I get the inspiration off of the service users as well. I get it off of myself, but I see what they go through.
Yeah.
And then I tell a story, and not being them or directly on them, but just being in that environment, just things just come into my mind. And then that's what helps me.
So what's a writing session like for you? What is a writing session like for you? Because where is your mind? The one thing I love asking artists or anybody creative within music is, where is their mindset physically at when they decide to become creative?
My mindset is just like in a relaxed setting. And whenever I feel relaxed, I can just come up with all this creativity. And so it just comes from nowhere. Well, obviously it comes from the universe, right? But it just comes, and then that's it. I can't stop. It just goes on, continuous. I was thinking, where did that come from? Where did that come from? I thought, what? I actually wrote that?
Mm-hmm. I know that one.
Yeah.
I know that one.
I remember before I wrote the track Autism, people said, you're never going to be able to write a track like that. Because I'm actually a support worker, and I know there's certain things that I didn't know before, but actually working with them,
yes,
people in general, that's what kind of given me the inspiration and the drive to do what I'm doing, to be able to word certain things, because like you learn about specific words, don't you?
Yeah.
And specific illnesses. So that's how it becomes a transformation, and be able to write about it.
But that's also a thing, because if you're, for example, when you're telling me you're writing about autism, for example, which is a great subject to actually talk about, the way we deal with people says a lot about who we are also.
Exactly.
And also giving them the chance to have the freedom to be themselves. Yeah.
There was a lady that I used to know years ago, or just say friend of my mum. And then the things, my mum used to do a lot of home helps, helping the elderly people. And I think that's how I got that inspiration of trying to help people as well. So what she did rubbed onto me as well.
See.
So that kind of helped me out. And there was you must be thinking, how did I get the name Emarvellous?
I was going to ask you, but I thought it's going to come up.
Yeah. There was an elderly lady by the name of Gladys.
Uh-huh.
And I used to work in a Hackney Council as well. So I've done various things, but the Hackney Council was before I got into the support work, the care sector. So I used to help her across the road. And then she goes, thank you, Ian. You're bloody marvellous, you are. I love you. And then that's how I got the name, and it was stuck from then. But people say E. Okay, let's just put them both together. So it was just Emarvellous.
You know what? That's good enough for me to understand the reason why you got your name. And when you have names like that come spontaneously and they just stick, it's the name for it. You know what? Sometimes, most of the time, actually, your name is already meant for you, even if it's your name as you were born, your stage name, a name that you adapt to or comes to you. It's already been made for you to already have. So it's brilliant how that even happened. If I was to ask,
I wasn't even expecting it to happen. It's just she just called me, and you know what? That name stuck. That was it.
But that's it. Like it's a beautiful thing to be able to have that, because people usually, when people are in groups or they're trying to make a group or go through things in life, and they're trying to find a name or even a name for a company, it's like they're writing down loads of names. But when something is meant for you and it comes naturally, it's so much better, because you can feel that it's meant for you. The name is meant for you.
Yeah, especially because I always kind of like it's the way I deliver the name. For some reason, it was like a slogan. So it's like I'll say Emarvellous, and everyone knows that. They recognize that, because if you listen to my tunes, you're always going to hear that. Mm-hmm. And so Yeah, and people just say it to me, even on a radio station. We're gonna check out my man Emarvellous, see what he's saying today. You know what I mean? It's like few interviews I've been through.
See, this is why I like it. So let's talk about your music. You know, we've talked about how you get creative, why you get creative, but let's talk about, you know, your songs, why you make them, where you've been featured. Because I want people to understand more about the brilliance of the music that you make in your own way, but also how you feel that you've been able to contribute in films or in any project that you've done. So please talk to me about some more of the songs that you've written, that you've made, and how they've impacted people within the movies or features that you've been in.
Right. We Don't Talk About Swim's a good one. I was a feature on that by Ed Cura.
Yep.
Because basically because of what he does, so he gave us the opportunity to come up with our lyrics for it to feature on the track. We don't talk about swim, and obviously he's done tracks before. I mean, regarding the topic, and what's happened is it's sort of like gave me a chance to come away with a different topic, because like I said, I talk about mental health and various other things that go on and stuff like that. But I would say that was like really good, because I never thought of doing a swimming track before. And Ed brought that to my attention, and Say So done his bit, Ed done his bit, and I thought, yeah, happy days. And a lot of people reacted to that tune. The mental health one was going through certain situations, and you know what I mean. So I thought to myself, pen to paper is the weapon, man. Perfect key. That really helped me out a lot. And well-being. There was a situation when I nearly ended up homeless. So what happened? Because if you listen to it, it says, I lost my home, elements of a big shock, determination. I won't flop. So that's how it started. So in other words, there's people that go for a situation like that. I won't say they take the easy way out, but what happened was they get highly depressed and they start doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, that's true.
So that track actually helped me. I wouldn't say I was going in that direction, but I thought to myself, do you know what? Just fight your corner, and try to find somewhere to live. There's always a door open for you, no matter what.
See, that's the thing. So one of the questions that I do want to answer, which kind of adapts to the answer that you've just given me, is people like to judge people all the time based upon how you look. Basically, a lot of the time on how you look, before you've even opened your mouth to say anything at all. If there was no judgment in the world, what would you do differently?
If there was no judgment in the world, do you know, that is a bit of a tricky question, because you have to have the yin and the yang, don't you?
It depends on the aspects of how you see it. That's why I like asking it, because I find that, just from my perspective, that a lot of people like to judge you based upon your presentation of how you look, rather than allowing you to physically articulate yourself in the way that you feel fit for you and give your opinion.
I reckon if some people didn't judge each other, this world would be much more positive.
It would be.
And it would be more loving, I think.
And have more compassion.
Yes, exactly. But some people judge other people to make themselves feel better, but in the end, they still feel worse about themselves because they haven't tackled the problem, have they?
That's the thing.
So they're digging themselves deeper. It's just like some people, where I used to work before, like people that drank a lot. They all like self-medicate themselves to a certain point because their endorphins are kicking in, they're drinking and they're feeling happy and stuff like that. But not realizing in the long run, you're destroying yourself because it makes matters worse.
That's true.
So you're all right for that moment when you self-medicate, but you're not tackling the problem. And there are some people that just don't want to listen to you when you try to help them. Like you were saying earlier on, they have to try it, they have to want it. Do you know what I mean? But then sometimes they're not strong enough to want it because they're so far gone.
And that's actually a good question to ask you. Would you call it a weakness, or would you call it a strength? Would you call it just the willingness to want to change? Would you call it ignorance? What would you call it?
To be honest, the answer I'm going to come with is, I say a lot of things is based on a spiritual dilemma.
I like that.
Spiritual blockage.
Mm-hmm.
And then to the normal person, they won't understand it because they don't know. But you know, like you do Buddhism,
Yep.
you would catch on exactly what I'm saying.
As soon as you said it, I knew exactly what you meant.
Yeah, exactly. I knew that you would have caught on. And it's like, you know what it is as well? Because, you know, if people were to read more, obviously positive education,
yeah,
right? Then they'll be so surprised, and it might turn things around differently for them because they got the knowledge and there's a reason why they're doing what they're doing.
Sometimes I think it's just a transition in their life that they must go through. Sometimes most of the time that we don't know people's circumstances of why they drink or take certain substances, and I'm not here to judge that. That's not what my life is about. But I think,
and another thing is, it's like it does make sense about, you heard that saying about the company you keep, because you can get people that like really can suck your essence. You can be bright.
They call them vampires.
Energy and positivity, and then you're around, I don't know if it's the right thing to say, but vampires.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, they call them energy suckers, which are are vampires. They come, they take your energy, and then they flee back to where they come from, and then when they feel down or depressed again, or they feel like I need to use someone's energy, they come back and absorb yours. Now, this is where I say to people, the energy you keep, it's like, I wrote something very not recently actually, that when I say to people your network is your net worth, it's very true. So the people that you keep with you, it doesn't tell people who you are as a person, not all the time, that's not true, but sometimes a high majority of the people that you keep around you will have a detrimental impact on who you are as a person. So those people who are having drinking substances and going through what they're going through, like you say, is a way for them to forget what's around the world.
Basically, it's a blocker.
Yeah, literally, it's a blocker. But when that substance releases from their spiritual bodies, their vessel that they're in, it makes the situation most probably 3 or 4 times worse for them.
Exactly.
Because now they've got to recover from the drink or the substance. Then they're recovering from the thoughts of what happened while they were having the substance. Then they've got to recover from the blockage. And as they say, I always say this to people, we're born with about 7 generations of trauma within us.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree with that.
And
we were talking about that the other day, wasn't we?
Mm-hmm. We're born with 7 different generations of trauma within us, and the only way to get it out is to have a spiritual cleanse. And some people might not always understand what that is or how it is. I can go deeper into it, but for me, it's just about understanding.
Exactly, and that is the key.
Your generations of who you are.
Exactly. You see that one of the things is one of the blockers as well, it's like the love of money.
Oh, that's the greed.
Yeah, greed, yeah. And so they're not really thinking about trying to educate themselves or trying to educate someone else or whatever. It's just that it's goal getter. You got to be a goal getter. But do you know, it's when you're so hungry for something, you're trying to rush it, it's not coming to you.
No. When
you just relax to a certain point, obviously you've got to work towards what you want. It will come. There's always, everything's based on timing.
It's at the right time. It's when you don't care. I always find when I don't care, I taught myself when I don't care about anything, it comes so quickly and so easily.
It's strange how that works, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And it's actually a magnificent thing to see.
Yeah.
It's one minute you care and you're trying, you're going fast, you're at a fast pace, you're saying, I need to do this, I need to do that. And then you decide, I don't care no more, I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it anymore. And boom, so many doors open and opportunities come and you're like, but I don't care anymore. Why is it coming?
It's all about giving thanks to the universe.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Everything, yeah, give thanks. And it's just like a lot of things, the elements, respect the sea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things around you. You know what I mean? Don't take nothing for granted.
See, this is why I like having these conversations, because it helps people to understand that don't look at what somebody else has. You don't know how they received it. You don't know how quick they got it.
Yes, exactly.
When somebody gets something quick, it doesn't last. Believe me.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true.
If you are patient, and yes, you're going to struggle for what you get, you will keep it. But remember, in wanting to keep it and needing to keep it are two completely different things. But also having gratitude for when you receive it enables you to keep it.
Yes. You're going to appreciate it more because you had to work for it, and you could see where that hard-earned work and you achieve it makes you feel good.
Another thing I always say to people is don't tell people your business.
Yeah, exactly.
I say that because a lot of people will try to put unnecessary energy
and they'll try and use
life.
it again.
Yeah, very much so. I do this thing that I shield myself from unnecessary people. But again, that's only if you will understand as a person how to shield yourself and block yourself from things that you don't need and people that you don't want in your life. And don't be afraid to turn around and say, I don't want or need this person in my life anymore, because they're not fulfilling the substance of who I am. And I don't think I'm fulfilling the substance of who they are. There's nothing wrong. There are millions of people in this world, billions in fact. And the whole point, I feel, of existence is to meet new people every day, but to treat them with respect, kindness and compassion. If you're doing that, you don't need to get rid of anyone as long as they're treating you the same.
Exactly. And if they're not treating you like that,
don't be afraid to walk away.
Because they're breaking your spirit at the end of the day.
That's exactly what it is. So if I was to turn around and ask you, actually, this is really cool. So if there was one song that was the soundtrack of your life, Ian, what song would you choose and why would you choose that particular song?
It'll be Hot Summer Breeze. And it's like a summer track. I talk about the elements, I talk about meditation and stuff like that. When you do meditate with a clear thinking mind and stuff like that, it really does a lot for you, basically. In other words, energy, more positive. It just your different outlook on life would be. It's obviously going to be different. It's going to have a good. What I was trying to say didn't actually come out. It's going to inspire you anyway.
I like that.
When someone sees you that you want to hopefully do things, or they say, "Oh, how does he do this? Why is he always happy and all that?" And then you sort of like it can educate them. Just pass on the knowledge of positivity. You know what I mean? Good energy.
I like that. If there was one quote that represented you as a person, what quote would you choose and why would you choose that particular quote?
I'll say love. Peace and love. Love overall takes over everything.
That's actually quite true. Yeah, I agree with that. That's something I always say to people.
Can't conquer positive, can it?
That is true.
No. What?
That is true.
Love is the key.
I like that. I like that a lot. What is the best advice you have ever received from someone? Because I know in life sometimes that we go through different transitions in our life. They say that we change every 7 years. And from the first 7 years, we evolve. And whatever happens in those 7 years kind of works you up to the next 7 and the next 7 and the next 7. So that's how it works to make you the person who you are today. But
my answer to that is self-belief. Self-belief is always a winner. Because if you go into somewhere and you're not confident, then it's going to show. And then you believe in yourself, that you know, that really uplifts you. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's always worked for me, self-belief. I remember there was times like when I wasn't feeling like wanting to do certain things and not believing in myself, then things won't work. The minute you believe in yourself, doors really do open. They really do.
That is actually really, really true. Because you're helping yourself, the universe will help you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. Very true.
That's true. When did you learn? What was your earliest experience where you learned that language had power?
I'll say my teens.
Oh.
Yeah. That language just has to, yeah. I'll say more or less in my teens growing up. My mum telling me certain things, educating me. And like listening to the older generation, because they know what they're talking about. Things that they say, then it comes into your daily living now.
That's true.
And I was thinking, oh, okay, you do know what you're talking about. It's not like I say I thought, what do they know? Why should I listen to them? But I just thought when I did listen to them, it's sort of like helped me.
See,
it really.
I like that. When was the last time you remember feeling totally at peace with yourself?
When my daughter was born. Yeah, that's when I felt totally peaceful. Because I realized myself, okay, she's born, and now, okay, there's a life, and this is when responsibility kicks in.
Yes.
And that made me feel good.
Yes. See, I like that.
I mean, yeah.
See, if I was to say to you, Ian, I'm going to take you and put you on a desert island for 24 hours. On that desert island, you are allowed to bring one musician, one activist, and one president. Who would you bring and why?
On a desert island, what? I think you may know what I'm about to say regarding the president.
Go on.
I'll say Obama.
Yep, I thought so.
Yeah. Do you know what? Because things changed. It was a game changer the minute a black president came on the scene. You know, I'm not saying the other presidents were no good or whatever. I've got nothing negative to say, right? But there were certain things. The way he spoke, not many presidents spoke in the way he spoke. The way his vision was, other presidents didn't see he didn't visualize things through the way he visualized things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And what was the other question? An activist.
So you're allowed one president, which you said Obama, one activist, and one musician.
I'll say musician will be Niles Rodgers.
Oh, okay. That would be interesting.
Yeah, because his production, man, it's unbelievable, and you know he does stuff from the soul.
Mm-hmm.
He done things from yesterday that has an impact today.
There you go. So he could see the future in a way.
Yes, exactly. He was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Niles Rodgers.
Yeah. So we got musician. We just need an activist.
Just an activist now. Right. Nelson Mandela.
Okay. That'll be
he went through hell just to get where he needed to get to.
Just tell me about it.
Yeah. And that I'll say is a real civil rights activist. And I mentioned one more. Marcus Garvey was another one.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, okay. I like writing these down because it's interesting to see what people say.
Do you know what? I can just go on and on about activists, but I'll say, yeah, those particular two really stand out for me.
That would be
I know a lot of people wanted to do the civil rights movement. So you've got Malcolm X, you've got Martin Luther King, but I picked those specific ones because to me they stood out for me. Everyone else's opinion is different.
Yeah.
And it's have different opinions.
Totally.
That's why everyone is different in general.
I like that. What do you believe stands between you and complete happiness?
Negativity. Negativity, always. Because that's a divider, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you've got happiness, then I reckon we can grow.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is that. So I only have 2 more for you. So my second to last question for you is, what would you like your legacy to be? Only when you believe that you would like to stop in your life and just live out your days peacefully, or when you feel like your soul has passed on, what would you feel your legacy would be, and what would you like it to be?
Legacy, a person of love and compassion that thought about everyone else and put everyone else before himself.
I like that.
What was the other one you asked me?
The first one was, what would you like your legacy to be?
Right.
And
All right. Yeah. Did I not answer that question just now?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, definitely. You definitely did, yeah.
And what was the one afterwards?
What would you like your legacy to be, and what do you believe when you're not here anymore, you would like people to think of you in your legacy?
You know, like positive words. You know, like as in, you know, like when you help other people and stuff. Ian, it still answers the question. It sort of like goes into that question.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I would still say it would be love, compassion.
I like that. No, that definitely makes sense to me. So my final question is, I would love people to be able to find your music, find out who you are, be able to contact you. Where can they find you, Emarvellous?
You can find
platforms?
my music on all platforms, Spotify, all of them, basically all the music platforms. And you can, and plus YouTube, Facebook, because on Facebook I'm Emarvellous anyway. But yeah, all the general platforms that people know about, you'll find me on there.
Guys, go and check out Emarvellous. He's around. I've listened to his music. I've seen what he does. You know, I've seen the impact that he has on and in what he does. So guys, this is where I say to you, Emarvellous, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Us People podcast, for embracing us with who you are as a person. And
show. I enjoyed every bit of the conversation we had. And thank you again.
You're more than welcome. You are.
One day we'll be able to have another podcast show when the time is right.
When the time is right, it will always happen. Most
and
definitely.
I must say, you are good at what you're doing.
Thank you.
Amazing, because I heard Boy Say So's one, and I heard another one. I can't remember who it was, but I mean, yeah, you shine.
Thank you so much. I'm really humbled. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on again. And I want to say, guys, thank you so much for listening to the Us People podcast. And please remember, you can subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, LinkedIn, and any other platform that you prefer listening to. Please also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And you can also donate to the Us People podcast by simply going to the Savia Rocks website or going to the Us People podcast website. And this is where I say thank you so much for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another. Take care.
the darkness of the night, you'll be guided through the light. Oh yeah. Set me free so I can soar. Embrace your journey, just move on, so you can be free. Spread your wings and let the wind glide you high. We're just soaring through this journey, leaving fear far behind. Our hearts are filled with courage. You can win if you try. Redirect the yes to you. You'll see the power in yes if you try. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind glide. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind glide. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind glide. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind glide you high. We're just soaring through this journey, leaving fear far behind. Our hearts are filled with courage. You can win if you try. Redirect the yes to you. You'll see the power in yes if you